I'm calling to order the Woburn School Committee special meeting for July 12th, 2021. Could please all salute the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I can't hear, Ellen.
All right, good evening, everybody. Dr. Crowley, are you able to call the roll, or would you like the chair to?
I can do it.
Okay, let's hear it.
Ms. Chisholm?
Yes.
Ms. Cormier?
Present.
Mr. Kissel? Here. Mr. Lipset?
Here.
Mr. Morenin?
Present.
Dr. Wells?
Here.
Ms. Crowley?
Present. Okay, I would like to announce that 2 members are participating remotely in this meeting. I can see them, and it appears that we can all hear each other, so I'm going to allow Mr. Kissel and Ms. Cormier to participate remotely. Additionally, Dr. Crowley is participating remotely. He's at the Superintendent's Convention down the Cape, and Ms. McLeod, our recording secretary, is also taking notes remotely. So, moving on, we have one agenda item. It is to deal with our policy EBCFA, which was adopted in August 2020 by the Woburn School Committee, because we have learned that there have been new developments with regards to mask requirements in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. I believe you have 3 options tonight, members. You can amend this policy, you can keep this policy, or you can rescind this policy, as with the last sentence in this policy, allowing the school committee to rescind it at any time. So that being said, we can open discussion. If the superintendent has a recommendation, we can hear from you, Dr. Crowley.
Sure. I think if I may, my recommendation would be that we follow the DESE and CDC guidance that we've been following since COVID began. On June 19th, they came out with, they being DESE, came out with new guidance that said that masking indoors and maintaining other health and safety guidance is not required, but encouraged. And the DESE guidance is in alignment with the state guidance, which encourages unvaccinated individuals to continue to mask. The DPH mask advisory advises unvaccinated residents to continue wearing masks indoors in settings when they cannot socially distance. So I think my recommendation at this time would be to rescind the policy that was adopted in August and allow us to follow the DESE and CDC guidance as it's so written.
Okay,
I'll make that
Dr.
motion,
Crowley.
Madam Chair,
Second.
as indicated by the
Okay, I have a
superintendent.
motion to adopt the superintendent's recommendation and a second. Dr. Wells, would you like to speak on that motion?
Yeah, because I think the new CDC guidance recommended that, as you said, people wear masks if they haven't been vaccinated, but that's not what I saw with the guidance from the DESE. DESE wasn't...
There was an email from the commissioner that went to everybody that you saw that I had forwarded to you, yes.
But wasn't that one just, you didn't need to wear a mask, I thought?
It was highly encouraged.
I know, but there's a difference, that's what I'm saying,
Yes.
there's a difference.
Yes, there is. That's
so-
why we're here. Yep.
Yeah, so, I think we should follow the CDC guidance, and just like every other business entity is doing, if you've been vaccinated, we have a sign, if you've been vaccinated, you don't need to wear a mask. If you haven't, you have to wear a mask. So that would just be my input.
Okay, thank you,
Yeah.
Dr. Wells. I also want to recognize that Ms. Young and Dr. Baldassari and Bob Lacanat are here as well. And this is Courtney Young's first meeting, so welcome. Ms. Cormier, would you like to speak on the motion?
Yes, please. I think that encourage is a sticky area and a real gray area. We're telling people to do what they think is best, and I don't think that's in the best interest of all the students. I think leaving it up to people to decide if they're going to wear the mask, which is basically what it comes down to, even if they aren't vaccinated, we don't know that. And we don't know if someone without a mask is vaccinated or not. And I think that leaving the policy the way it is right now is the best way to go.
Okay. Mr. Lipset?
I mean, I would be inclined to agree, especially as it pertains to students under the age of 12. who we know cannot be vaccinated. I know that everyone wants this to be over. I want this to be over. And unfortunately, the fastest way to make sure that it is over is to follow these recommendations, is to continue wearing masks for populations that are unvaccinated, who are at higher risk of both spreading and contracting COVID-19. And, we are seeing the spread of new variants, and those seem to be particularly affecting younger people. And I think that, now is not the time to take our eye off the ball. We're coming really close to beating this thing, and the best way to do it, especially in Woburn Public Schools, is to continue to wear masks for unvaccinated people. And I agree with Ms. Cormier. The language of encourage it opens the door in ways that don't serve our students and don't serve our community.
Okay. Ms. Chisholm.
I agree with the superintendent. I think that everybody that wants to be vaccinated at this point has had ample time to be vaccinated. Those that need to be vaccinated should be already vaccinated. And I think that parents should be able to make a decision, especially kids under 12. FDA has not approved this yet, so I think that we should not be forcing anybody to wear a mask all day long. We're seeing what it has done to these kids by doing this for over a year. So I think that we should leave it up to be that they're encouraged. If parents feel that they need to have the kids wear the mask, they can. But I think that parents that feel that their kids are fine, that they're vaccinated, they want them to go to school, you have 5 and 6-year-olds that should not be doing this. So I think that we should leave it that we follow the CDC or the DESI rules and let it go with that. I don't think we should make, especially little kids come to school every day with a mask on.
So I guess my question for the members that want some sort of bright line between vaccinated and non-vaccinated, how would you want the administration to deliver that policy? Mr. Lipson.
I guess my immediate response would be that we don't use the language of encourage. We say that unvaccinated people on school grounds must wear a mask, and that includes students under the age of 12. I mean, I know that's not necessarily going to be popular, but I think it's the best way to proceed.
Okay.
So that would, if an amendment to the motion is in order, I'll make that one.
I think it's inconsistent with the motion.
I think it's inconsistent
I think we
with
got
the
to vote the
motion.
motion and then decide, the commission
Okay.
decide, if the motion passes, then it's moved.
Yeah, so the motion is to adopt the superintendent's recommendation, which is to, I guess, rescind this policy and only be guided by DESI and DESI, right?
Which we've been following.
I'll turn to the administration. What's been going on thus far in the summer? And by the way, I think it's very clear to point out that this is only summer programming. I don't think we should open the can on fall yet. So is everyone in agreement that we're only talking about summer?
We should put a time limit on it.
Okay, so we can deal with that at the end. Thank you, Dr. Wells. What's been happening in the schools? Just a 30-second update.
Sure. We have programs going on at different buildings, and so I can speak for the buildings that I've been in primarily. But we have all of the same sanitation stations, masks available throughout the building, and students have, for the most part, have continued to wear their mask coverings.
Okay. All right, so I guess, anyone want to speak more on the motion? Okay. Mike?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. If I may, again, getting back to Superintendent Crowley's recommendation to rescind the order the policy in front of us, and I think it was Mrs. Chisholm, to follow the DESI CDC guidelines, use the word encourage, use the word favor, use the word whatever you want to use. And again, going back a year and a half, almost 2 years now, we were going with DESI and CDC guidelines throughout. Poor Dr. Crowley and administration were balancing that ball all year long because it was conflicting on who was doing what, where, and when. We have a summer program running. There's, guidelines in place. Things are being run in the buildings right now. And if this is the recommendation from the superintendent, who's, as we like to say, boots on the ground running, he's got his pulse on what's happening right now in the schools. So I would just like to follow what the superintendent gave us, the DESI, CDC guidelines, Again, Commissioner Riley's encouraging, that's from DESI themselves, who we've been kind of backing DESI from day one, favorably or not favorably, we kind of stay with them. So I think to start, what are we going to do? Meet again and say, well, this is now the Woburn guidelines, or this is going to be the Shamrock guidelines, this will be the Reeves guidelines, this will be the Kennedy, this will be the high school. So if that's a recommendation from the superintendent, he's fine with it, I'm fine with it. So that's about my 2 cents right there.
Thank you, Mike. Anyone else want to speak? Yes, Dr.
I just
Wells.
wanted to clarify. Unfortunately, the DESI guidelines came out prior to the new CDC guidance, which came out Friday, and so they're in conflict. I think, it might be one of these rare occasions where DESI's actually giving us a choice. I don't think there was much choice in what guidance you could follow, so I think we should just, and everybody's living with the CDC guidance. It's clear. Every building you go to says the same thing. Unmasked, if you're fully vaccinated, masked if you're not. And we're not asking to people to verify it, I think, but we're just stating that we want to follow what's the best guidance available to us. So, I think, I'm going to vote against the superintendent's recommendation. Nothing against the superintendent. And again, I think DESI was just a little behind the curve because the CDC guidance came out last Friday.
Okay. So any more deliberation or commentary on Mike's motion to approve the superintendent's recommendation? Seeing none, let's vote. Roll call vote, please. Dr. Crowley?
Ms. Chisholm?
Yes.
Ms. Cormier?
No.
Mr. Kissel?
Yes.
Mr. Lipset?
No.
Mr. Morenin?
Yes.
Dr. Wells?
No.
Ms. Crowley?
Yes. That motion passes. We will now be adopting the superintendent's recommendation to rescind the school committee policy and adopt DESI's recommendation that we highly encourage everybody to wear masks and social distance within the buildings and anything else that DESI comes out with. But if there's any changes, if DESI, do I have a motion to reconvene if DESI changes its mind and adheres to CDC?
Well, we made the motion that we're going to follow DESI and CDC, so
Well, we
Okay.
can't,
until September 1st, if you want to do it that way.
but I,
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, do we have a time limit on the
yeah,
policy?
we should set it September 1st, and I think if the motion is that they're following DESI guidance, I don't think you necessarily need the school committee to
Okay.
meet again,
Yeah.
until September 1st, and then we can decide what we want to do going into September.
Is that just, through the chair, is that a good date for the administration, Mike?
Yeah, I just want to make sure I'm clear on what's happening. So the policy is rescinded.
Right.
Yes.
And that means that tomorrow I would contact MASC, it's going to be pulled from our policy manual, it will not be there.
Yes.
What happens on September 1st?
So I think that the school committee has decided that this is only rescinded until the start of school. Actually, we have to develop a new policy for the start of school to
Okay.
deal with the
Yeah.
whole student body, put it
Okay.
that way.
Yeah.
Because this is, the summer school is a enrichment volunteer program, but if we're going to be dealing with mandatory public education, we might feel a little differently about masks and whatnot. So I think that we have a time limit of September 1st, so we will be
So
looking
the
at it
policy,
again.
the bottom line is that the policy is rescinded, that's
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
But before September 1st, Dr. Crowley and Mrs. Young, Mr. Elkanata, and myself will work on a new protocol for the fall.
Yes.
Is that- Okay.
Wherever, excuse me, through the chair, and you'll be getting just like you have for
Right.
all of these, CDC, DESI, wherever you get your guidance from.
Right.
And I don't jump right into this tomorrow, because come August and September, you guys are going to be right back where we were
Just
a
keep
year
in mind
ago,
that
back and
the
forth.
reason that we put this policy in place was when we were going through the reopening of school
Right.
plans with the WTA.
Okay.
So we will need to communicate
To the
with
table
them
again.
as well. Certainly tomorrow, and again prior to September 1st, so that we're working together on what the new
Sure.
protocol will be.
So,
Because they understand that we follow those before.
Right.
so that brings up a question, what happens if the teachers union, because this is, we're saying we're going to negotiate with the teachers union, but we didn't in rescinding the policy.
But as it is right now, Dr. Wells,
Yeah.
the way that the programs have been running
Yeah.
already for,
Okay.
we're into day one of week 2,
Mhm.
and there has not been any
Okay.
question from any faculty or WTA member.
All right.
Like I said, they should be vaccinated if they.
Ellen,
Yeah, Mr. Kissel.
I have a question. It's hard to hear some of the commentary, but I guess the question is, I voted to rescind, so that passed. Are we talking just summer school? Are we talking the property? Are we talking walking through the building for any summer help, anything like that?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Kissel. I think we just established that this is only for summer school, because summer school is enrichment and not necessarily required. It's only 10% of the student population. So we're going to revisit this for the traditional fall by September
Yes, sir.
1st. We will,
I guess my question is, it's not so much the full school year coming up starting September 1st, but what's going on at schools now? If there's any programs at all that are happening?
yeah,
They walk through that front door, do they not need a mask unless they're vaccinated? Will we put signage up?
so right now, by sort of protocol, students are wearing masks at a very, very, very high percentage rate.
Yes.
So this is like, kids aren't walking around maskless. So they're adhering to this because they've been highly encouraged to do so. They walk in, there's a mask available for them, they put it on, and so I think because parents are trying to keep the school system safe. So we're not dealing with a vast amount of kids. And right now, there's only one school that's operating, and then we have special ed ESY as well, if I'm,
We have students at the
Maybe
Shamrock,
I'm just not
students at
getting it
the
across. Does this
Malcolm White.
apply to anyone at all? To get summer kids in the special ed program?
If they're vaccinated.
Anyone at all
Yeah.
that
No, it-
would have been mandated?
All summer programming.
You essentially said that anybody can come.
During the summertime until
Yes.
September 1st.
Yes, yes.
it's highly encouraged that everybody wear a mask.
Yes.
And if you're vaccinated, you don't have to wear one.
And it's consistent across all summer
And
programming.
it's consistent across all summer programs. This is what's been happening since summer's been running.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Chris, it's just, maybe I didn't understand you. That's my fault.
No,
Okay.
I'm not talking just to students in summer program. Anybody in the school system at all, do they not have to wear masks now? Until
Correct.
September 1st when we make another
Correct.
decision?
That's
If
right.
they are vaccinated.
No.
If they're,
That's not what they
No,
said.
it's just
Highly
the
encouraged,
kids.
yes.
Or
Yes.
is
Yeah.
custodial, okay, gotcha.
okay.
Just want to make sure. Yep.
All right. I think this concludes this business. Anything else?
Make a motion to adjourn.
All right, motion to adjourn. All in favor? Roll call vote, please.
Yes, yes.
Ms. Chisholm?
Yes.
Ms. Cormier?
She said yes.
Mr. Kissel?
Yes.
Mr. Lipset?
Yes.
Mr. Lorena?
Yes.
Dr. Wells?
Yes.
Ms. Crowley?
Yes, this meeting is adjourned.
Matt, can you stay on for a minute? Matt?